Okay, we're live. How are you,
Hi-
Adam?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Welcome to this episode of Vestibular TALKS.
I'm excited.
So am I. I'm very interested in hearing about your story.
Yeah.
How? Please tell us a little bit about you. How this all started? What happened?
Yeah, this started about 15 months ago for me to where it was chronic. Like looking back over the last probably 7 years of my life, I
Okay.
uh, I had kind of an episode of this right before my son was born, about like 4.5 years ago, and it lasted for about 3 months, and it got better.
Okay.
Um, and then I had kind of a flare up of something similar happen, and kind of same deal. It lasted for like a month and then it went away. So I was just thinking I was just stressed, like I didn't really go to the doctor or anything. I just kind of blamed it on stress. But then about 15 months ago, so it was actually the day after Father's Day, in 2018. I woke up and I'd been having pretty bad headaches and some head pressure. I'd felt off for about 2 weeks before that, and I woke up, dude, and I felt like somebody took me out of my body, put me in his body. I had head pressure, my head was throbbing,
Yeah.
my vision was really, really weird. I felt really dizzy. I just felt super disoriented. And so,
Hmm.
like I said, that was about 15 months ago. And after visiting 12 different doctors, I finally, yeah, it was a lot. Part of it was just because I was so panicked in the beginning. I was just, I'd go to one doctor and he wouldn't know. And I mean, I was like rapid fire scheduling appointments, trying to figure out what was going on. Because it was scary. I had no idea what was happening, and I just wanted to feel better again. But finally, about 9 months after that, after visiting 12 different doctors, I live in just north of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
And so I was able to get a referral to Duke's Vestibular Clinic. And so that's where I got diagnosed with vestibular migraines. And, and the rest. So I've had the diagnosis almost 6 months now, and I'm doing all right. I still have some pretty rough days, but I would say I'm having more and more good days as time goes on. So
Okay, that's a good sign. Adam, from listening to your story, it seems that yes, during very stressful situations, it's it's mostly when people's symptoms seem to flare up. So having a child obviously is a wonderful, beautiful experience, but it could be also very overwhelming because
yeah,
there's so many things that you don't know about, so many unknowns about from becoming a dad or a mom, and
yeah,
so that around that time is when it triggered it. Then later on, you felt a trigger again. You mentioned that you're in North Carolina. You
right.
just, you just had this gigantic tropical storm go by the last couple of weeks. Did that trigger anything? Like, did that bring any symptoms because of the stress of worrying about that?
No, I wasn't really worried about it because I was so far. The only thing I was worried about is I was supposed to go on vacation to the beach next week or
Oh,
the week after. So I was hoping my vacation didn't get canceled, but which
yeah,
it
there
didn't.
might not be a beach. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I was like, dude, I need to chill. I don't. Yeah, I know, and it's a sad thing. The hurricane. I know it was devastating for a lot of people.
Yeah, of course.
I wasn't too worried about it, and it's so hard with this thing to know. Like, so I wasn't stressed about it, about the hurricane. But then people say like barometric pressure can be a trigger,
Yes.
and for me, it's been pretty hard to find my triggers. I don't know
Okay.
about you, but I know light's a trigger for me. Like
Yep.
computer screens are a trigger for me. Activity is a like physical activity. But other than that, I can't really find that many of my triggers.
Okay. And like regarding foods, anything that you eat that you might feel make it worse or better?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've had so today I'm like back on the heal your headache train. I'm gonna really give the heal your headache diet like a good try. Are you familiar with that?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So, and I've done I've had like stints where I've been really good with that, and I do notice that like chocolate's a big one. If I have chocolate, or if I just have even like a lot of sugar in general, I tend to feel more worse, or I tend to feel worse if I have if I'm dehydrated, I feel worse. And then I that's really it though. I mean, chocolate's the big one. If I have caffeine, if I have caffeine, I feel like I'm on LSD. I mean, caffeine makes me but so that's a big one for me. But yeah, I haven't really been able to find any other major ones. Those are the ones that get me instantly. But I'm pretty serious about committing to the diet this time,
Okay.
for a long period of time. So I'll keep you posted. Hopefully,
Please.
by sticking with these with the foods I eliminate for a while, I'll be able to know once I add things back in.
All right. Adam, from visiting your page and watching your videos in YouTube, I know you've done quite a bit of research regarding your condition and if, what things can help. So you mentioned the visual stimulation and the prisms in your glasses. You mentioned in your video that they've been a game changer, that they actually helped you. How do you come across that? Like, did anybody refer you to an eye doctor, or you via your own research found that visual therapy could help with this?
Yeah, so I'm pretty like to a fault. When I want to figure something out, I can be pretty obsessive about it.
Mm-hmm.
So since all this started, I've been trying to educate myself as much as possible. I think like many of us do, right? Because
yes.
Doctors don't know a lot about it, and so we have to kind of we have to kind of take that into our own hands. So like some of the things, so I came across it just on my own. I came across it months ago, just Googling my symptoms, and I came across binocular vision dysfunction, and so, but I didn't really do anything with it then. And then there's somebody in one of the forums. It's like the Vestibular Migraine professional one on Facebook, or the Migraine Strong one. I can't remember, but anytime somebody posts something about their vision, I think her name's Megan Julian.
Okay.
She always is it my eyes, or could it be my eyes.com. And so with the prisms, I really do feel, and we've discussed this a little bit, but my vision's been one of the most frustrating symptoms for me, because it's like you feel like you're in a dream a lot of the time. You know what I mean? It's like, if I was like, man, if my vision was normal, I feel like I could have a better handle on this. But my vision not being normal makes me feel disconnected. So I started searching in forums about that, and and came across what Megan was posting and some other people. And I tried so many other things. I'm just like, I'm gonna try and give it a try and see. And they have helped. I mentioned in my video that they've helped. They've also I have to go back. I have a follow-up appointment, and I have to get a second pair of glasses. They say that they stop working a lot of times, first pair, because your eyes adjust, and you have to get, these are actually just blue blockers that I'm wearing right now. But so you have to get a second pair like once your eyes adjust. So now when I wear them, they don't help that much. One thing that they do help with a lot is when I don't know if you get this, but when I turn my head from side to side, I don't feel like my eyes are always in sync with my head movements.
Yeah, it's like they are lagging behind. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they have helped with that a lot.
Okay.
But I don't feel like in some ways, I feel like they've almost made my headaches worse. So.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of and I'm just hoping that's because I haven't gotten the right prism yet.
Okay.
Like I haven't gotten the right prescription. So the verdict's still out on that.
Okay,
as
good,
far
good
as
to know.
how you're still going to help.
Yeah, good to know, because I didn't know about the fact that your eyes can eventually adapt to it, and then the prisms don't help as much because your eyes become used to it. And
Yeah.
and our bodies are so perfect that you're right. Like we evolve and we adapt so quickly to things. So it does make sense. I didn't know that. Wow,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
interesting.
It's super interesting.
Adam, you've had it for about 15 months. How has this affected your personal life, your family life, obviously with your son,
Yeah.
and in your professional life?
Yeah. So with my family life, so I have two sons. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. He was born on Christmas Day. So, when he was like 6 months, yeah, pretty crazy. That was a fun Christmas. But he was about 6 months old when all this started. And so family wise, I think that honestly, I just had a lot of guilt, just because I have these two beautiful young boys. I've looked forward to being a dad my whole life. And I know this isn't true, but I just felt like I was good for nothing. It's like, hey guys, daddy can't play, especially my 4-year-old, like, hey dad, can you play with me? But dad doesn't feel good. I need to lay down. And when I could play, it would be for like 5 minutes,
Yes.
and then I would just be kind of overwhelmed.
Mhm.
So with my kids, that's been a big one. My wife, thank God for my wife. I have an incredible wife who's been so supportive. She's never made me feel, less than or guilty for going through this. She's really been my biggest supporter. But even still, there's this part of me that's just like, that just kind of feels that same guilt. Like I feel like we own our own business. And so
Okay.
when this happened, she took on some more responsibility with the business. And, she was really helping take care of me too. Like, I was trying my hardest to work. I honestly probably should have rested more than I did, but I
Yeah.
just felt a lot of guilt because, because she was taking care of the kids and doing extra stuff at work. And so that's how it's affected me with my family. With my business, I am really, really lucky that I work for myself. So I'm a musician by trade. But my wife and I, 5 years ago, we started a music school. So
Okay.
this actually, not that there's ever a perfect time to have vestibular migraines, but if there was, this kind of would have been the perfect time because I had already planned on stopping teaching, and I was just focusing on this, tired a studio manager. So I was able to the business was really able to run itself
Okay.
when all this happened. But even still, I think I just felt that guilt again, just not being able to be as present for my customers and my employees
Yeah.
so yeah, man, and then I would say just personally too, with like my friendships and stuff, I really kind of isolated myself when all this happened. And it's not because I didn't want to hang out. It's not because I was depressed, although I have dealt with depression
Mhm.
a lot during this time. But
Yeah.
it was more just because I just couldn't. I felt
Yes.
so bad all the time that, I was tired of telling my friends, hey, I can't do that. So it's changed my life. And
Yes.
it really has. It's hard to even say that out loud, but it really has. It's changed my life.
I completely understand what you're saying. And when you say this, that you feel this feeling of not being present, uh, two things. Number one, visually, you feel like you're in a dream-like state. I think they
Yeah,
call it the Alice in Wonderland syndrome because everything feels so surreal. And
yeah,
so that's visually. And emotionally, you feel detached from things that you love. Like
yeah,
I do also have a son, and I love him to death. Like he's my everything. and my fiance, of course, and my dogs. And when this hit me, I almost felt like I blocked all emotion out of my, like I was in neutral, like I was in automatic, like almost
Yeah.
like all my feelings of love and connection towards them completely got blocked, like something was blocking that. So
Yeah.
I completely understand what you mean, and especially because you're a musician, your passion for music probably changed too, because when you have a migraine or vestibular migraines, any noise can
Yeah.
trigger symptoms and overwhelm you. So music was probably something that you love, and this will make it more difficult to enjoy that, right?
Yeah. I didn't pick up my guitar for probably 9 months. So I would here and there, but for the most part, I didn't pick it up for about 9 months. And also one of the big things with music was my tinnitus. I've always had like low level tinnitus, but when my vestibular migraine stuff really got bad, my tinnitus got a lot louder. And so I got really paranoid about being in, because I have to be in loud environments for work all the time. So I got really paranoid about being in loud environments because I didn't want my tinnitus to get any worse. So, and I've managed to get over that fear. I've that have like filters in them, so when I play I can still hear, but it blocks out like 20-30 decibels. And so, but yeah, it was, I've just now, 15 months later or 16 months later, however long it's been, gotten to the point where I'm starting to play out again. I'm releasing a CD on the 30th of this month that I recorded right when I got sick with all this stuff, and just I had to wait to release it. So yeah, but what you were saying about the emotional thing, it's so, and I still feel that a lot sometimes. It's like you almost feel like hollow, you know what I mean? It's like you just feel like everything's right here, but I feel so distant from it. And like I know I love to work in my yard, but like even when I have a good day and I force myself to do it, even it just doesn't feel the same, and that's been a huge hurdle for me in this. I would say the physical stuff is hard, but emotionally, having, and it's not just vestibular migraine, I would imagine it's with any chronic illness. It's emotionally, man, it's tough. It's
a
so
mental game. Yes. Adam, your symptoms now that you're 15 months in, are they consistent every day, 24/7, or you find lapses of time when you actually say, oh, actually I don't feel anything, like I'm feeling much better right now? How is that for you?
Yeah, so I would say there's still 24/7, but like when this first started, they were like 24/7 out of 10 all the time. Like yesterday and today, I've had stretches of time, because I'll have peaks and valleys within a day. Like there will be parts of a day where I'm feeling good and parts of a day where I'm feeling not good. And but like I've had a lot of moments like yesterday and today, and many times before this too, where it's like, oh, everything's out of 3 right now. Like this is like I can do this. Like like I could live with this. Like this is, I'll live with it no matter what. But so yeah, I would say that I've had a couple of days where I have felt really good. But my thing is, I get really excited when I start to feel really good, and I'm like, I'm gonna go on a hike, and then I'll go on a hike, and then I'll feel like total crap for like 2 days.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I had on Saturday night too, and like even like I had a moment where I had a really bad migraine before, and I took a triptan, like a sumatriptan for my migraine, like a painkiller or whatever. And I had a moment where I didn't have a headache during my gig and like for a little bit afterwards, and everything just felt like a lot of my visual symptoms were still there. I have visual snow too.
Yep.
So do you get that?
Yes, I know. I mean, especially if I'm looking at a plain or a white background, like a white wall,
Yeah.
I can see a lot of things that aren't there. In my brain knows they aren't there, but I see them there. So
Yeah. I get that too, and I get like after images and stuff, and
yes,
yeah, so
it's
brutal,
very
dude.
trippy. Yeah.
Yeah. But even and those symptoms still being there, like that was a really good moment. It's like, oh,
Okay.
like things look a little funny, but like physically, I'm not in pain right now. I'm not very dizzy right now, and I can engage in life almost like I used to.
Yeah.
So this feels pretty good. So yeah.
Uh, a question that many people ask me, people that are suffering from similar conditions, is as time goes on, does it become easier to drive, fly, and watch TV? In your experience, what do you think?
Yeah. I don't know about flying because I haven't done that yet. I'm originally from the West Coast, from Southern California. I had a trip scheduled in August. I ended up canceling that trip just because I wasn't, I think physically and emotionally, I wasn't ready. So I can't speak to flying. Driving, I've forced myself to drive from the beginning. So I don't have a lot of balance issues like some other people do. Like my equilibrium's definitely off, but my balance is still pretty good. And so driving, even I forced myself to drive from the beginning, but yes, it was a lot harder in the beginning.
Yeah.
I just remember being so nauseous all the time in the
Yes.
car in the beginning. And like I'd get to work and I try to work and I just put my head in my hand. I just wanted to throw up, and
Yeah.
and I don't really get that very much anymore. I get it, I get it sometimes when I drive. But like up to my family, I drove 3.5 hours and I was totally fine. And I was the one in the driver's seat. So yeah, so driving's gotten a lot better. Again, I forced myself to do it from the beginning. And then watching TV, I can watch TV. It makes me feel sick. I don't enjoy it anymore, which is a bummer because it used to be like one of the main ways I used to unplug.
Yeah, same
So I think just, what's weird though is even before my chronic phase with this, I always had trouble with TV.
Okay.
Not like all the time, but it's like at first I would kind of get sick when I turned on the TV, and then I'd get used to it real quick, which makes me think I've been dealing with this for longer than 15 months. But I can watch TV, but I just don't. I've been trying to do non-visual things as much as possible. I just sat in my living room and played my guitar. And like, I have a couple gigs coming up and I needed to learn a couple of songs. So I did that, and that was good, but I'm hoping I can get to the point where I can comfortably watch TV, because I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I used to enjoy it a lot too, and I can, unfortunately. So
yeah, it's tough, man.
It changes you. Yeah, Adam. Lately, I don't know if it's because now we are more involved in this kind of like environment, but lately I've met a lot of people that keep getting vestibular migraines or any sort of vestibular disorder, and it's happened recently, either this year or last year. Do you believe that it's just a random coincidence that more and more people are getting these conditions, or is it just because we are now kind of like in it, that we attract people that have the same conditions, and we kind of like, oh, I have that too. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, but it's probably more the second one.
Okay.
I think that, it's sort of like you buy a red car and then you notice all the red cars in town. I think it's like that sort of thing. I think that I've thought often about how there's probably a lot of people who even 10, 20 years ago had vestibular conditions and they just didn't know what to call it.
Yeah.
And so even, what, like I said, as recent as 10 years ago, I think that there's a lot of people who dealt with this stuff, and doctors just, they were just mystery patients.
Anxiety. They just said it's anxiety.
Yeah, right. Which is so frustrating.
Very.
I've gotten that one quite a bit. But yeah, I think that just because, I think when you deal with something like this, it can be so lonely. I flock to social media because we're looking for answers, and you can click on the vestibular migraine hashtag, and then all of a sudden there's this world of people who can share your experience. And it's like, even with my wife, and I've talked to my wife about this before, it's like, honey, you do such an incredible job loving me, and you've helped me so much. Like when I'm sick, like you've honestly taken care of me. Like it's been great. And she'll even say, but I have no idea what it's like to actually be in your body right now.
Yeah.
And I tell people that because I've had a lot of, one of the biggest, saddest things that I've struggled with since I started dealing with all this is just some family members just choose to blame it on anxiety.
The lack of compassion.
And it's like, draw some serious boundaries with some family members and just say, what I have is real. Yes, I'm anxious, but it's because my body is totally freaking out right now. And, man, if this is just anxiety, great. Not minimizing anxiety at all, but let's say this is just anxiety. Like, I feel like that's something I can work with. But anyway, so I think that even sometimes so I just want to, with my family, it's like, I just wish that there was like a way like that we could do like a body swap for like 5 minutes, just so you can see, like, I'm not making this up. Like, you would freak out if you were in my body right now. So, I think that social media is so great because we're able to connect with people who get it. And so to answer more of that, I think that we're in this community now. We tend to see more people who struggle with it because we all instinctively do the same thing. We try to find answers, and one of the main ways we do that is social media.
Yeah. Adam, so powerful what you mentioned, the fact that your wife has been your biggest supporter, because many of the people that I've met that have had this condition or similar conditions, their partner has been the one that held them there, like that helped them be strong, that put them, like, that gave them hope that this is going to eventually change and become better. And sadly and unfortunately, most of their actual family, like the actual bloodline, and I experienced that myself, as you have as well. My own siblings and my own parents, which God bless them, I love them, but they don't understand the severity of this, and they often say, "Oh, we're sure it's not that bad," or like, "Oh, come on, you've been dealing with this for a few months already. Like, just give it up, like move on." And you think to yourself, you're like, if you knew how hard it is for me to function in a daily basis, just to be present, to be able to walk, to be able to drive, to just be a normal person. If you knew how hard that is for me right now, you will have more compassion. So what you mentioned, I completely 100% relate to it, because it's so unfortunate that our own blood, our own family are the ones that sometimes don't necessarily attack us, but are the ones that are more harsh or cold regarding these conditions. Yeah, it's
Well, I think, it's funny. When you hopped on the call, it's like I feel like I already know you because I've watched so many of your videos. But I was watching one of your videos the other day. You were sitting on like a couch, like a brown and black couch, and you were talking about that. And I think you said it so well. Essentially, you said, even if it isn't, I don't believe it is for you. I don't believe it is for me. We've got something real going on with our brains. Even if it is that, say it was like just saying it's just anxiety, get over it. What good does that do? Like one thing that this has taught me is to have compassion for other people. And I've realized how judgmental I've been in my own life. Like, I'll look at a situation that somebody's going through, in the past, and I'll be like, oh, they're overreacting, or, like, oh, they brought this on themselves. And it's like, no, like, I was wrong for doing that. Like, the bottom line is that regardless of what's actually going on, this person is suffering.
Yes.
And they need support. They need encouragement. They need friendship. They need somebody to say, hey, listen, I believe you. The most powerful thing, one of my best friends that I play music had a health crisis a couple years ago and went through something really similar to what we're talking about right now. And I tear up almost thinking about it. But he sent me a text and he said, Adam, I just want to let you know that I believe you. I hadn't even told him that I thought he might not, or that other people, I thought that other people didn't, but because he'd been through this, he knew, right? And so, yeah, man, that's it's same with me. It's with my parents and with my siblings, and I love them. My sibling, they're great, but it's like, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yes.
Like you said, when your own bloodline doesn't support you like you wish they would.
Exactly. And you're not looking for pity. You're just looking for compassion. That's
right.
Just yes. You don't want them to treat you any different or to feel sorry for you. You just want them to say, I understand you and it's okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Adam, other than the diet that you mentioned earlier, many people, including myself, we picked up yoga, meditation, things like that. I thank you for the Spotify playlist that you suggested. I downloaded it and it's great. It's
so good.
Anything else that you've tried, like supplements or vitamins or things like that to help your condition?
Yeah. So kind of how I've attacked this, like in a nutshell, is the supplements I take. I do fish oil. I do magnesium glycinate.
Yep.
And then I do CoQ10. And then I am on medication right now. I'm on a medication called Diamox. Yeah, it's kind of it's an interesting one. Not a ton of people with VM get prescribed it, but it's a diuretic. And so I feel like what it's done is it gets rid of excess water in your body. So I feel like it's relieved a lot of the pressure in my head. And it doesn't really have any, it's not an SSRI, so it doesn't really have any, I get a little bit of tingling in my legs and in my arms sometimes, but it's not bad. So I do that. And then what else do I take ashwagandha, which is just like a natural supplement that's supposed to help with anxiety. And then I am on an SSRI just to, man, mental health is important. And so for me, like, I just knew like I needed something. So I take 150 milligrams of Wellbutrin just to kind of take the edge off. I'll probably switch that soon. Because it's not really, I'd like to kill two birds with one stone. I'd like to take an SSRI that's supposed to help with this, but this prescribed way in the beginning. So like medication and supplement wise, that's what I'm doing. The other two things that I try to do is I try to walk every day. So, some days I feel good enough and I'll do 4 miles. That's a rare occasion.
Wow.
Like today, I did 1.5 miles, and that's really my goal. Is it's like a 30-minute walk for me because I'm a slow walker. So so I walk and then I meditate. So I use something called heart math. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. It'd be worth checking out. There's a sensor. I like it because it's measurable. So there's a sensor that you connect to your ear, and it measures your heart rate variability. And that, honestly, man, that's been really, really big for me. That's been, I feel like that's one of the main things that's helped me get out of like fight or flight.
Yeah.
I'm not fully out of it all the time yet, but I'm in a much better place than I was. So, and then I also just like having community, so I have 2 other guys that I Skype with almost every single week who are going through something similar that I can be totally honest with. And that's been really good for me. Therapy. I've gone to a therapist, I've done like talk therapy. And then my church too has been really helpful. So my priest, I'm able to be really honest with him and just kind of, he's like a super cool guy, non-judgmental. And so my church community doesn't necessarily know, all of them don't know what's going on. They know something's going on, and they've just been very supportive. That's been really healing. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like, I would say one thing that I'm not doing that's helping is I'm really trying to limit my time researching the condition. And I know and I'm a little farther down the road because you're like 5 months in?
Yes, 5 months in.
Yeah, so like for me, so I'm not saying everyone needs to stop doing that. I just feel like at this point, I pretty much know everything I'm gonna know about vestibular migraine that I need to know, and so trying to limit my times in the forums and like even on my Instagram and my YouTube channel, like those are all good things, but they can be not good in excess. Yes, and stress me out more. And so I'm just trying to, I feel like I'm at a point now where I can, I'm trying to live my life a little bit.
Yes.
Even though it's not the same as it was, there's still good in it. There's still beauty in it. And it's not perfect, but it's good. And I'm trying to live in that space as much as I can. Just trying to find that balance. So that's pretty much everything I'm doing.
Okay, no, good to know. And
continuing to seek medical care too.
Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah. Adam, what does the future hold for you now? What are your future plans?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I love my job, and so I want to continue to grow my business and help as many students learn music as possible. That's the name of my business, is Learn Music. So I am pretty passionate about that. I want to keep doing that. I want to continue to heal, and I really want to continue to make small daily choices that will help me become more healthy over the long term. So I think that wellness is something that I'm looking forward to continuing to learn more about and to implement into my life in the future. And then I want to spend time with my kids and my wife. I do want to improve to the point where I can spend more time outside. So that's something that I'm going to really try to focus on, because I love being outdoors. One of my goals in life is to hike the Appalachian Trail, and I haven't given up on that yet. So maybe a long time away, and I may have to modify it, but
you'll do it. You'll complete that.
I really want to do that. So, and I think too, man, just like for the future for me, I'm going to continue to I just want to appreciate in the future. I want to appreciate all the small things that I took for granted for so long. There's so much beauty, like I said, in life, and I have a new appreciation for it. And so I really just want to cultivate the ability to be in the moment so that I can appreciate all the good stuff that's in my life and all the great people that are in my life.
Yes, very, very, very positive message. Thank you. Adam, before we go, would you like to invite the people watching this video to watch your videos, to visit your YouTube channel, and also visit your page as well?
Yeah, sure. So I have an Instagram. It's Son Don't Get Lost. And then my YouTube channel is the same name, Son Don't Get Lost. And I just do videos about what I'm learning on my journey of dealing with, a vestibular disorder. So yeah, those are probably the two best places to connect with me.
All right. Thank you, Adam. And before we go, also, is there any last message or anything that you'd like to say to the people suffering from chronic illnesses?
Yeah. I speak as a fellow sufferer and not as an expert when I say what I'm about to say, but there's times where this is so overwhelming, and there's moments of darkness over the last 16 months or 15 months, however long it's been. There's been moments that just feel so dark and so hopeless. But here's what I'm convinced of is that, again, there's so much beauty in this life, and there's so much potential in each and every one of us. And just because we have a chronic illness, it doesn't mean that that potential and that beauty goes away. Life is worth living. It's worth, continuing to pursue the things that you're passionate about. And I think the most important thing is, and this is why I love what you're doing so much, is, and other people like Monica and I think her name is Engelbert. But you're not alone. There's so many other people who have gone through this, who are going through this, who want to see you and everyone else and themselves succeed. And so don't let the darkness overtake you. And, that would be my big message, and know that you don't have to do this alone.
Thank you. I'm sure many people that's going to make a positive impact in many people that hear that. So thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. And thank you for this interview.
What you're doing, man. You're doing a great job, and you're giving people a lot of hope, and you're helping people find answers. So keep up the good work, man.
Thank you. We're stronger together. I believe we're stronger together for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Adam. Well, take care. Very nice to meet you, and I hope we can chat soon again.
Yeah. Let's do it. Talk to you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.